Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, let's go. Kevin here, top 1 financial advisor and best-selling author. We are here to talk about the stock market. Earlier this week, AMC announced that they are partnering with Zoom, the video conferencing company, to create what they call Zoom rooms in up to 17 locations in 2023. So in this video, we need to discuss what is going on here. Is AMC a stock worth buying? Is Zoom a stock worth buying? And what this means for both companies moving forward. Now, if you have not been around the channel, first off, where have you been? Go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. But AMC has been one of the most popular stocks over the last 2 years. In fact, at least on the day that I am recording this, AMC right now is the #1 most popular stock on public, which says a lot. It has staying power. It's been around. It was the second most popular stock in the whole meme craze after GameStop. Now, GameStop has fallen out the popularity charts, but AMC continues to find itself in the news for a lot of different reasons. This one, though, seems to be legit. And I say that because I follow AMC. I don't invest in AMC, and I'll tell you why here in a few minutes. But AMC went out and bought a gold mine, and I think it was Nevada. They do all these weird things that have nothing to do with movies, nothing to do with making any money. But again, they stay out there. They have embraced this meme culture, and again, they stay out there in front of the news. That is the main thing here. However, this one has some merit, perhaps. So essentially, again, they're trying to do this in up to 17 locations in the US next year in 2023. And they want to create what are called, again, Zoom rooms. Basically, you can get up to 150 people into a theater. You put Zoom on the big screen and y'all do whatever it is y'all do on Zoom. So I guess have a major conference. I can't really think of too many uses. In my mind, I'm thinking, because obviously it's a theater, so you watch movies in that type of setting. But maybe there is a streaming service. I mean, maybe a major baby shower, maybe a giant wedding or something where you can sit that many people and watch it, perhaps. I really don't know. I haven't seen any true uses for it, but it's interesting. It is interesting, and at least these two businesses can come together and do something. So here's my concern here. So number one, these are two bad stocks. I didn't say bad companies. Two bad stocks coming together, at least at the time that we are discussing this in November 2022. I say that because AMC by itself is down 32% in the last 6 months and down 70% in the last year. Then when we look at Zoom is down just 16% in the last 6 months, which isn't great. And it's not as bad as the overall stock market. So it's like, okay, but it's down 70% over last year. You got two stocks that are down 70% a piece coming together to do something that I'm not necessarily, I'm still kind of in the question mark phase here. Because again, if I don't want to gather that many people, 150 people, 75 people together to watch a Zoom stream, I could just do it on my phone. I could just do it at home. Almost the same reason as a regular movie, right? Unless it is something that is exclusive to theaters, which is happening a little more often than what it did in the pandemic for obvious reasons, I can just Zoom stuff from home, right? I don't have to go to a theater to go and watch the exact same thing, the exact same Zoom stream that I could have done on any other screen in my own home. So that part is still confusing. I still want to know exactly who is going to use this service and how much they're going to pay. AMC did say that you don't have to get a movie ticket per se to come in there. And I will say this, perhaps depending on what type of Zoom event is going on, there could be a case for them to get at least snack revenue and things of that nature from that. So you can have that. I can see how, but I just haven't been given the how. So I don't want to have to use my imagination for a company that I don't work for and trying to force things to happen, as opposed to y'all just tell me exactly how much money you plan on making, exactly what type of events would this work for, and then boom, I can go for that. But essentially consumers can book a time slot, I think up to 2 or 3 hours for it, perhaps longer depending on the event, and AMC and Zoom are going to share some bit of that revenue. For AMC by itself, this is not something that I personally would say, boom, they got this partnership, let me go ahead and invest in it, because there are some key fundamentals that I think you should be aware of for a company like this. I'm just going to read off a few of them. Number one, they've had 12 consecutive quarters of losses. 12 consecutive quarters of losses, meaning they've been losing money 12 consecutive quarters. No profits, nowhere in there. And yes, I understand 2020. I think we all get that. Makes sense as to why that company would have been negative by a big margin in that year. but 12 consecutive quarters, we gotta get some profits in here somewhere, and things have improved in some areas, but in context they haven't improved, and in some cases gotten worse. So I'll kind of go over those as well. Next here, it is the number one most popular stock on public. I don't know how much that means because again, it's still down 32% in the last 6 months. It doesn't just popularity isn't always profitability. It's something that used to say quite a lot in 2018 and 19. But here's the thing that really stood out to me. When you go and look at their income statement, this is how much money they're bringing in and what they're spending their money on. They lost $149 million in 2019. Okay, they lost $149 million in 2019. This is their net income. After all the bills are paid, you were negative $149 million 2019. Now, this is not a new company. It's not they just started up yesterday and it's a fledgling company that's trying to find their way and figure out what they're trying to do in the world. It's AMC. They've been around for decades. Okay, so it's number one. And this is pre-pandemic, okay? In the most recent quarter, I think it was Q2 of 2022. I think that was the most recent quarter. But you guys, you can actually go to their website and go to Investor Relations and you'll get the exact same numbers that I have right now. They lost $458 million in 2022. So those losses are getting worse. Now notice here that I excluded 2020 and 2021. We were in a pandemic, theaters were closed down, and we're slowly getting back to the theaters in 2021. So trying to be fair here, take out what we know are probably the worst numbers here. And if you want to know, they lost $4 billion in 2022 and about $1.2 billion in 2021. So let's take those out, and I'm looking at 2019, 2020. Negative 149, it got worse, and they're negative 458. Those are huge losses, and I don't think I need to overemphasize how significant those losses are for a company that has been around for quite a while. I have been negative on AMC for not innovating enough, and this could be a sign of some sort of innovation in that they're trying to partner with not necessarily a content streaming service, but I mean, Zoom is essentially a streaming service. It's a streaming service for meetings, and this may be something. Okay, so I can't really get too much into it because they haven't given that much detail. And again, I shouldn't, as a consumer and as a potential investor and someone who's trying to analyze this, I shouldn't have to fill in the blank in terms of like what this production could do together, what this partnership could do together. But I did want to come out and say, hey, this is interesting. I would like to see AMC do better in terms of true innovation and things that actually make sense. My move, if I were a part of AMC's, investing staff, which y'all can invite me, I'd be open to sitting on the board and brainstorming with you. But what I would consider is figuring a way to better capitalize on these live events. Zoom might be a part of that, but if it's something that is exclusive, that is of a streaming service that comes on at a certain period of time, maybe they can do that. They did have an announcement that they're going to partner a little bit with Netflix for certain streaming services. I don't know how that really benefits Netflix per se. We'll see what that's going to hold, but they have to do something. My thought was they should do sports streaming service instead of going to like a bar per se to watch a bunch of games. Perhaps I can go to NBA Finals and watch that in the theater with a theater experience or something of that nature. Maybe, right? What you don't want to do is continue the path that you were doing in 2019 that lost you $149 million and whatever happened prior to then, which wasn't all that great either. Because the problem here is technology is still changing. Things are still moving towards streaming. Yes, you got Black Panther coming out. I'm going to be at the movie at theater, and I'll probably be at an AMC on Thursday. And I'll probably be at an AMC for that. But I would like to see AMC either go upscale and have the best, food, catering, all that kind of stuff like a Cnet Bistro, or I would like to see them do something in addition to movies where it is completely innovative and new, where it's like, oh my God, I can only get this at an AMC, because just doing movies by itself is not working for you. We saw that in 2019 by itself. Okay, we're seeing that right now in 2022 by itself. Those two things are not working. And at some point, I believe that whether it's an Amazon streaming service, we see it with Disney Plus and others where right now, like Black Panther, like Thor, clearly it's only movies I watch, or like The Woman King, and those are the only movies that I've seen so far this year that I can at least immediately remember, is that yes, they go to the movie theaters right now. And we've already seen that many of these, especially those from Universal, have been profitable by skipping the movie theaters altogether. It would not shock me that in the next 2, 3, or even 5 years, they'll go right back to that and say, look, I can drop on streaming the same day, and I can do it, in AMC, or just get rid of AMC altogether. And what spot does it leave you in? That leaves you in a vulnerable spot. Okay, and I think they need to do something, push some button, create something new, or partner with one of these, or really I would say acquire a piece of one of these streaming businesses so that you can continue to stay relevant in a space that is constantly changing. Yes, there is always a place for a theater. When it's something like a Black Panther, which means a lot to me as a superhero fan, and something that happened with the passing of Chadwick Boseman, I want to be there on opening day with a community of people that, feel the same way about this particular event. That makes sense. But that's not every single movie, right? It's not every single movie. That's not going to be every single person. And again, that market is changing, so they have to do something there. So for me, it's an obvious no for my own money. But I will be watching on the sidelines because I do think this is interesting. What about Zoom? Zoom is still in a similar spot in that financially, Zoom is okay. Like they have, the company is worth, if we look at market cap, they're worth $23 billion. For context, at least today, at the time that we're talking about this, AMC is only worth $2 billion. So there's that, right? So Zoom could buy AMC many times over in this particular instance. However, when it comes to Zoom, I still feel like Zoom is a one-trick pony, and they are trying to do something to get out of that box, because right now all you do is video calls. That's pretty much it. They are trying to go into calendars and Zoom phone and kind of get like let's call it a Google Suite type of feel, where you can, like I get on my Google Calendar, I can get a Google meeting, I get syncs with my phone and all kind of stuff. Perhaps Zoom can try and do that, but one, I'm surprised they don't already have that. That's number one. Number two, you're still running up into the device part of this. You don't have the territory is something that you are still going to run into. What I mean by that is, by default, if I have an iPhone, I have iCalendar, or I can download the Google app. And there's my calendar, there's my schedule, there's my email. I have all that. Why would I need to then go out of those things and go get a Zoom link when I can already have Google Meet? Why would I go outside of that when I can already just do FaceTime immediately, right? No one's going to buy a Zoom phone, in my humble opinion. Now, they can do that route and do like a physical phone and try and do what Microsoft did. That's an uphill battle if you ask me, and it's way more expensive to go that route. But Zoom also has to figure something out. Yes, they have retained the majority of their consumer base from 2021 and 2020. That's fine. But you got to do something different, because for me, if I were to let go of Zoom today, now I purchase it because I do webinars and stuff all the time. There are a bunch of sometimes free alternatives that I could just use. I'm just here, I just understand it, so I'm just going to keep it. But they've got to figure a way to really widen the moat and make themselves special. I could say the same for AMC, because for me, there's nothing special about going to an AMC. I just go because it's everywhere. And I go just because I just really go wherever the ticket is. Very, very rarely, at least for me, now I may not be the biggest moviegoer in the world, where I say I have to be at this specific theater with all these extra amenities. My thing is, I don't want the floors to be sticky, and I just want to watch my movie in peace. That's just me, okay? And even for Zoom, I just want to, if I need a video conference, I just need it to be clear and without a whole bunch of hassles and complications. Okay, I can't say anybody, but most services can do that. There are a lot of competitors that can do that exact same thing. So both need to find a better moat. AMC needs to get better on the financial side of things. Zoom could improve, but financially, I think they're relatively solid. But they do need to, both companies actually need to improve on their performance. So that's my thought right now on AMC and Zoom. If you have any other thoughts, feel free to let me know in the comments below. If there's another deal that happened that I may have missed, because I get way too many notifications about the market, feel free to let me know and we can break that down and discuss. And let me know, did any of y'all own either of these companies? I have not owned either at any point in time. AMC for obvious reasons, but Zoom, it IPO'd, I think 2018 or 2019. I was in New York when they debuted. My office was literally right around the corner from the actual stock market, and they had like banners and all that kind of stuff. So I think it was 2018 or 19 when they went public. And for me, I try not to invest in things that just went public because it's a risk. And when Zoom came out, I think it was 2019. When they went public in 2019, things were great for a little bit. They were one of the few tech companies that were profitable when they went public. and then the pandemic hit, which really helped Zoom, and then it's been downhill since. So let me know, do you own it? Are you holding on to it? Are you getting now because you feel like this is a dip? I don't know. Would love to hear those thoughts. If you want to learn more, though, about becoming a better investor and how to analyze and what to look at, because some of the things that I went through to find are things that we've covered inside the members only. So make sure that you do that. You can click the link here, right under this video. There should be a box that says subscribe. And if you dig lower into the description tab, you'll see that we can talk more about it there too. All right, that is it for me. I'll talk to you later. Bye.